So just how much money on gas do you save when you buy an electric car? Are you going to save the world? Let's get into it. All right, stay tuned for this. So if you watch my channel before, you know I do a lot of stuff on Apple and all electronics and stuff. Today it's going to be electric cars. I hear a lot of my friends, I hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to save a ton of money if I buy an electric car on gas. The question is it true? So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at Teslas, probably the most popular type of car. I'm going to go through a bunch of different Teslas, and we're going to figure out, based off the cost of power and what's their range, we're going to figure out exactly how much it costs, estimated, to run those per mile. And then we're going to take a look at a Passat. You can buy that in the US for about $25,000. And we're going to see, that's a gas car. We're going to see what that can, what does that cost you per mile? And then we're going to weigh the difference over, a number of years and number of miles to see what you're actually going to save. Is it worth your money? Are you actually saving money by buying an electric car? Again, there's going to be some, obviously it depends what you buy and a lot of other factors, but we're going to look at it as a broad range. The second thing I want to talk about is a lot of people say, I'm going to buy an electric car because I think I'm helping the environment. And the question there is, are you really? And we're going to look at that as well. So it's not going to be the longest video. I'm going to keep it simple so it's kind of fun to watch and everything else. So stay tuned. Let's get into the numbers and I'll show you what it all comes out to. I'll show you at the very end what it costs to run a Tesla versus a Passat. I think you're going to be shocked. Let's get into it. All right, so let's look at Teslas first. How much does it cost to drive a Tesla 1 mile? And we're going to find that out right now. So here's some basic assumptions. Assuming that electricity is about 13 cents USD per kilowatt hour, and that's going to be an average. That can change depending on where you live, but we're just going to take that right now. Assuming 85% charging efficiency, again, that can change. That's depending on where you are and how you charge and everything else, but we're going to have to take that assumption. We looked at 4 different models for Tesla. So the first one is the Tesla Model X, and the numbers that matter, it has a 100 kilowatt hour battery and a 360 mile range. After doing all the math and everything, we came out with it's 0.042 cents per mile. I take that back. It's basically 4.2 cents. I mean, obviously it's $0.042. So it's 4.2 cents per mile. The Tesla Model 3, which is a 50 kilowatt hour battery and 263 mile range, that came out to about 3 cents per mile, roughly, somewhere in that range. The Tesla Model S long range, which has a lot longer 412 mile range, that came out to about 3.7 cents per mile. And then finally, the Tesla Model Y, which is a more expensive car, but also a lot heavier car, it came out to about 4.7 cents per mile. So we averaged all the cars together, and the average of them is going to be basically 3.9 cents per mile for the average. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Passat now. All right, now for the Passat, how much does gas cost, for each mile? Let's assume a 2020 Volkswagen Passat. Assuming you get about 28 miles per gallon combined on the highway and city driving, combine those. And then assuming the cost of gas is about $2.50. I understand this is going to go up or down depending on your region, your state and everything, but just about $2.50 right now in the United States is average. So the overall cost per mile for the gas only, and we're not talking the car expenses, just the gas, is going to be 8.9 cents per mile. All right, now that we have the numbers, is buying an electric car going to save you money on gas or fuel? Or let's look at the numbers. So let's just assume 75,000 miles have been driven on either a Tesla or a Passat. And over the course of that time, we already got the numbers that it's about 3.9 cents per mile. So 3.9 cents per mile for a Tesla times 75,000 is about $2,925 on electricity to run that car. For the Passat, it was about double, 0.0, or it was 8.9 cents roughly per mile times 75,000 miles. So you're roughly around $6,675, a little bit over, double. So you save about $3,700 over 75,000 miles, but we do have to look at some of the buts. So reality, basically, what you're looking at here is the average cost of the Teslas we looked at was about $78,000. The average cost of the Passat was $26,000. Now let's just assume that you go with a really cheap electric car, because I know people are going to say, oh, you can buy, the Hyundai Nero or all these other cars. They're generally going to be about $5,000 to $10,000 more for the same kind of internal features except for the electricity for the car. So assuming that even if you bought a $35,000 car, you're not going to buy it to save money because you're only saving, over 75,000 miles, you're only saving $3,700. So you don't buy an electric car to save money on gas, and that's kind of an argument I'm trying to make. And obviously you can do it for other reasons, but it's not for saving money. All right, now, are you saving the earth now? That's the second question by using an electric car. A lot of people say, well, when I use an electric car, energy's not released. It's released without combustion, so it's not, polluting the atmosphere. Well, some people might be lucky enough when they plug in, obviously their charging port, when they plug it in, maybe in some places in California, you might be plugging into renewable energy. But the fact of the matter is that it's around 64% of the United States right now is actually fossil fuels. So if you take that into account, fossil fuels make up a huge percentage of what you're going to be plugging into, creating pollution before you actually drive your car. But even if you're lucky enough to plug into renewable energy, batteries are usually made with rare earth elements. They call them REEs, like lithium, nickel, cobalt, graphite. So realistically, just to create your batteries before you even bought your car, you're kind of polluting the atmosphere. And 1 ton of REE can cause up to 75 tons of acid waste, and 1 ton of REE can also cause about 1 ton of radioactive residue. So you're actually causing some problems there as well. And then it comes down to recycling. So once you're all done with the battery, there's a huge recycling problem. You got to recycle everything, and there's more energy being used. There's going to be more problems, more pollution. So you can definitely buy an electric car and try to help the environment, but I would buy it more for the fun, because it's really one of those things you just don't know what it's going to do overall. All right, so what did you think? Are those numbers what you thought? So when you break it down, number one, you got to really, really hold on to a car for maybe 10 years before you're actually going to save money on gas. That's pretty difficult right now. Now, that's not going to say it's not going to change. You can use solar too right now. Most people don't. You might get some free charging here and there, and there's other factors that might offset it. But right now, it's going to be a tough sell if that's what you're going off of, even with the cheaper electric cars. At the end of the day, though, the environmental aspect is another thing. You're obviously connecting into a socket, which is not just coming out of midair, unless it's solar, but it is going into a factory, and sometimes that's an oil factory or a gas factory, a coal factory or whatever. And then you end up, using that as well. Plus, you have to recycle the batteries, which is, kind of an environmental problem. They're getting better and better every year at recycling that kind of stuff, so that might change in the future. But you're not probably doing as much as you think for the environment. Although, like I said, every little bit helps, right? So I'm not saying to do it or not to do it. I just wanted to kind of uncover what it actually does cost to run these type of vehicles versus, one versus the other. And just don't think, though, when you plug in a car and you're not using gas, that you're instantly, saving 100% of whatever you would have done, because you're not. But, it does help a little bit. So let me know in the comments what you think. I just wanted to kind of uncover the mysteries of the electric car a little bit. And I know it's a little bit off my beaten trail with doing kind of computers and everything else, but I like to mix it up. So hopefully give me a like button and subscribe if you can. I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.